Good morning. Welcome to Diane's Kitchen. Today's guest is beyond interesting. You're going to have a good time with him. First of all, I want to mention my sponsors right off the bat. That's the Body Shop Fitness Centers, both of them, whose tagline is they're open every minute of your life, so you've got no excuse. Give them a call. Greenfield PT and Sports Medicine, they're open, they're waiting for you. The Lakes team, Edina Realty, also open, ready to sell your house, buy your house, answer all your questions. It's a good place to call. My guest today fascinates me because I have been fascinated with the night sky for years. I don't do well because, by 8:30 I'm dropping brain cells. But here's a man that knows a lot about science. And oddly enough, he knows a lot about music. Well, kind of about music. Bob Wanek is my guest today. He has made his mark in Spooner. And if you went to the Spooner schools, you probably had him for the teacher. Good morning.
Good morning, folks. Bob here. Yes, I got urged to come here to share something about science, about myself, and about Spooner, and I love science. She asked me, how did you ever get here? Well, I told her that I grew up on a farm down by Hagen, went to Shale Lake High School, met a nice girl from Birchwood that I married. I interviewed here. H.J. Anthel showed me the new gym and showed me the chemistry room with about 6 lab tables. And I thought this would be a good place. Now, did I originally start in chemistry? No, I used to love music. I used to play alto sax at Rice Lake. I got a first a couple times at state. And then I had little piano lessons. I went up to Superior, took up music for 1 year, but I decided science was more my game.
Wait. How much did you used to make playing for weddings?
I told her we made $9 a night playing for wedding dances around Hagen and Sokups and Rice Lake, and then we played for the showers free, and we call that a praxis. And
You're not going to get rich at $9 a gig.
Oh, yeah, but you think about inflation. Today, that would be about probably $10 an hour. And I used to work for Hokie West at the potato field for about 90 cents or $1 an hour.
Oh, my goodness.
And I worked at Cumberland for 90 cents an hour pushing bean crates. So I'm just an old farm boy from northern Wisconsin that I found my place here at Spooner, and I stayed right here.
The amazing part is, how long were you a teacher, a science teacher at Spooner?
Well, I started in 57. So some of my first students are probably about 81, 80, because I'll be 85 in the fall. So I've got about 61 years of science teaching at Spooner, including the elementary grade. The elementary, I was giving talks there for about 26 years. In high school, I was 35 years. So I figure I'm just a hometown boy.
That is just amazing. Once you turned to science, it was who you became. Everything about science.
Well, I don't know. I'm still learning how to golf a little bit. The guys laugh at me, and I love bow hunting. And I love the outdoors, and Spooner is a good place to have the outdoors right in the backyard.
Before we went on air, you were telling me about science, including what I called geology, and you said, but that is science.
Science covers many areas. Geology is a study of the earth. I worked that in with my chemistry classes, and I talked about the iron deposits, the copper deposits, the gold deposits, everything I could think of. And a lot of people may not realize that Spooner was covered with a few hundred feet of ice at least in the last glacial period here. Geology is a lifetime of the earth. It is changing. People worry about the water tables, the water levels of the ocean rising, but most of the United States was underneath water at one time or other. So geology is just a part of the earth, and the earth is part of science, and science almost includes everything.
Well, that's true. I live in Shale Lake, And sometimes when you look at the Shale Lake, you can easily see that years ago it was considerably deeper and bigger than it is today.
Railroad tracks used to be the boundary line, I think, for the
Yes.
level of Shale Lake.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And you look at all of these lakes and all of these I can't remember what they call them, kettle moraines, how they, yeah, you can see they used to be much deeper. Well, look at the Utah. Oh, what's that big lake out in Utah?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake. You can see the levels. You can see the difference in the rocks. You can see the difference in, I mean, that used to be, well, look at Lake Mead out in Arizona. You know, that has come down considerably. Pretty soon you're going to be able to wade across it.
It's all the changing of the Earth's surface. And a lot of people don't realize the Earth is changing. It just goes on and on.
Well, it is. It's a continuous thing, and it's how we treat it, and it's what happens. It's what happens, and how we react to it. Now, you have taught, I would presume, almost all grades?
Yes.
Was there a favorite grade? Did you like the little kids better or the high schoolers?
The high school I loved as a challenge because I worked in all the practical chemistry I could. We did a beautiful job on silverware polish, where the electrons were going, and toothpaste. I had the boys make a cement boat that would float. We talked about how the atomic bomb worked, and we talked about additives to gasoline and oil, and fertilizers, ingredients, growing as much as I could, everything practical. And then I was gifted, they let me have a second year of chemistry for the students that were going on into science. So I got a textbook, I think it was SORM from the University of Wisconsin, and I took 10% of the class through that book. We went through all the chemicals, compounds, reactions, equations, mathematics that they would need as a freshman in chemistry at the University of Wisconsin, because I used that text. And then we gave them about 12 weeks of organic chemistry, working into that, and then a little bit on analysis work, so they had a beautiful preparation for college when they went on into science.
Wow, I wish I could have been in one of your classes. I wish I could have taken years of your classes. It would have made so much more sense. I had someone tell me once what silver polish does, how it works, and I just totally spaced it out. I still don't understand.
Well, silverware polish is just kind of abrasive, but you can take, I think it was baking soda and salt, you throw in your silverware with aluminum foil, and the hydrogen gas is given off, and the hydrogen bumps into the silver sulfide, the tarnish on the silverware. It latches onto the sulfur. Silver says, if I'm going to go by myself, silver gets a couple electrons and settles down as regular silver on your silverware polishes. So it's a nice little chemistry, and it's not just what happens, you know.
That's just fascinating. You can take baking soda and salt and aluminum foil.
I know aluminum foil is in there, and baking soda. I know hydrogen gas is given off, because I said that hydrogen gas tells sulfur, this is the deal, you can't refuse, take your electrons from me.
Right.
And silver says, well, if you're going to get rid of me, I want my electrons back so I can play it out on the silverware. And that was oxidation reduction, but it was nice, simple presentation.
Nice. You call that nice and simple?
Yes.
I'm still in the dark. One of the things, how I got to know you, was an article in a local paper that you had written, because this was kind of a follow-up for a class that
My pause, pardon me, audience.
Have a cup of coffee, here. That way it doesn't make any noise. This article was about astronomy. It was about the stars. It was questions. And you said that these questions were simply follow-ups to the class that you had in the fall, in the spring, to make sure that these kids are still
it was
active.
It was a nice review, and Also, with that article, the elementary principal, Mr. Hofsky, was nice enough to include that article in some of the sheets, the star chart sheets, with over 100 lunches that they sent home to the kids.
Oh, during the
spring, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So it was a nice review for the kids, and they had a sample of these star charts that you can get for about $1 a month, very cheap, from Michigan. And that would get them outside. It would get them something to do, and they would say, hey, do you remember we talking about this at school? Yes, let's go find it in the sky.
These questions are not easy questions. I mean, I read this and I thought, I can get these questions. But why is Orion disappearing in the western sky? It's like, I have no clue.
Well,
and I realized that you do. When did astronomy, I don't want to say overtake chemistry and geology, but
just a tiny part of it.
So, is this as fascinating? Is this as fascinating an aspect as every other part of science?
Probably, but as far as I want the students to think about, they talk about the Earth being a spacecraft, you know. And I want the kids to realize that we are simply part of the neighborhood of the stars, and especially of our planets, and how we are moving around our sun, and how we are part of the galaxy, and how the galaxy is moving through the sky, and all the other thousands of galaxies that they're trying to keep track of. And I just want the people and the kids to understand we are simply part of the neighborhood, let's say, of our planets, our little group of planets around our sun that we are blessed to have. It's our neighborhood. So we should know a little bit about it. Appreciation, the speed of light for the light years. If you're about 37 years old, you should find Arcturus. You follow the handle of the Big Dipper, it leads down to Arcturus, and that light has been traveling 37 years to get here. Okay, so if you're 38, you could say, well, I was 1 year old when that light that I see tonight left Arcturus. They measure the distances in light years, so I don't ever bother the millions and billions of miles. But a light year is how far the light travels in 1 year of our time. And the speed of light, I emphasize that to the kids by taking a light and shining it, let's say, at the ceiling. Where did the ceiling get here? Get it up there at the ceiling, and I say, okay, kids, if I turn on the light, and that light's going to go all over around the Earth, over Alaska, China, Japan, come back around Australia and back here, and shines on your foot or on the desk. My goodness, that would take a long time. But then realize that since light is traveling so fast, that light would also, if I would shine down at the floor and say, okay, I'm going to shoot off a blast of light. There's those light. Now, thinking about how long it would take to go around the Earth and then getting back here, it would be here in a less of a second, because the light would travel around the Earth 7 times in 1 second. So it is that fast. If you say, oh, I don't believe that, go out with somebody shining deer. When you turn on the spotlight, you don't wait and watch the light gradually work across the field. It is there instantly right in the deer's eyes. So they measure distances in light years. And if you're 37, you figure out how old you were around 37 years ago. And for the old timers, there's one Regulus in one constellation is about 78 years away. In the third graders, when I get my hands on the third graders, I always give them Sirius in Orion's constellation, because Sirius left that light about 8.5 years ago. So I tell the kids that when you go out and you see that light coming from Sirius, the eye in the big dog, that light's been traveling your whole lifetime. And if you would like to take something precious to your parents, when you look up and find that star Sirius, the light is hitting you in the eye. Yes, yes. It is also hitting in your open hand as you hold it by your face. Yes, yes. Well, if you shut your hand real quick and run in the house and say, Mom, here's some light from Sirius, and it's been traveling my lifetime, you would not be lying, because the light would hit your hand, and it would still be in your hand, gradually changed into heat. And you say, well, how can that be? Because in the wintertime, the sunlight will hit a black stump and warms up the stump. The black stump absorbs the heat, and it melts the snow around it. So the light energy is changed into heat energy, and that also would be true in your hand as you catch a little bit of light from your star. I think those are little precious ideas. And we should appreciate the stars and the planets because they are in our neighborhood.
I was going to say, they're part of our neighborhood. Who finds, since you've taught all grades, since you've taught for so long, is there an age that appreciates or is more in wonder of what you're teaching them? Is it the little grades that just look at you and go, I just can't believe this? Or is it the older kids that kind of comprehend a little bit more? I mean, I thought that was fascinating.
I think the younger kids are more lovable and honest and
Yes.
friendly with you as a friend, as a teacher. The older ones know that they are learning something that they will keep with them the rest of their lives, and they think of you more as a partner, a friend. So there's both affection in both areas. I still have connections with old Christmas cards from some of my students from years.
That says a lot.
I have Jennifer Olson's boy Dalton is supposed to remind me in the September or October when we can see our Milky Way galaxy in the sky. But it has to be at a certain angle, a certain tilt of the Earth. So if I would say anybody interested, and I may have mentioned if the guys are ice fishing, tell the young kids about the constellations or deer hunting. And you gals, if you're out there and any of you are thinking about astrology, oh yeah, I got to read what's my constellation is going to tell me it's going to happen this month. Is I'm going to get in trouble? Will I meet somebody different? Will I get a better job? Will I be happier? So you could use these star charts here to find your constellation, and you find it in the paper and say, oh, I got to go find it in the night sky, and go out and find it in the night sky and see, I told you I was going to answer you, and it all blends together. It's the appreciation of the sky and the universe around us. And we are so blessed to be able to understand these things and realize that we are simply a small part of our solar system, of our galaxy,
Yes.
that we are privileged to be here. We have been blessed by life as we know it here. So therefore, I push the idea, especially to the younger kids, that let us be as nice as we can be to our classmates, our parents, our teachers, and if we have a good thought about helping somebody, we should do it because we have been blessed to have this place and we should take care of it.
And when you look at the universe, we are so minuscule. And our time here is, the Bible says, what is your life? It's a vapor. It appears for a minute and it's gone.
Our whole galaxy could be swallowed up by some giant monster in the sky and the other galaxies wouldn't notice it. Our whole galaxy.
My goodness.
How big is our galaxy? I push this at the fourth graders if I'm not running out of time. If we would get on a spaceship and we take off and we have, let's say, 50 students volunteered, one-way trip maybe. And every 25, and we're going to cross our galaxy, which is about 100,000 light years across. In our spaceship, we have one generation of 25 years old, and then we have to make way for the new generation. Our kids, they have to be taught the Spanish and the English and everything that they need to continue the flight. So every 25 years, one generation, we have to get rid of the older generation. Now, you can't just throw them out of the spaceship because they are 60% water, like you folks are, and we need that water. There's sulfur in them, about equal to the volume of two big fingers. We need that sulfur. In other words, I tell the young medical students, how would we recycle that older generation? Because we can't lose anything, because we have to keep everything in the spaceship.
What an interesting question. What's the answer?
Well, it goes on and on. Now, if our Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light years across, every 25 years, you've got to recycle, like the garden and like the grass. So it would take 4,000 generations in that spaceship to be recycled for us to get to the other side of our galaxy, and we'd have to go around the black hole and all the energy in the center. And then you would have to decide who's captain, and do you want to continue on into outer space, or do you want to go back home? It's a big world out there, a big area, and I want the kids to realize we're important. We should be nice to each other, but we are simply a small part of a greater system.
Definitely. Before we go, you've got to answer.
She's cutting me off already.
I told you I'd do it. I had a couple of questions. I'm Swedish, and my father, I wish I'd have memorized it, used to say, I don't know, it's going to be whatever, something about the Big Dipper. When it tips, it rains. Is that true?
Well, the Big Dipper gradually tips, so it rains or it's full. And the old Norwegians used to say when the Big Dipper was at a certain place in the sky, he'd say, Leona, it's time to make some wood. We got the wood wagon up there, you got to get it full because we need wood for the winter. And that would be another one is simply that, it's raining or something. All the civilizations, the Middle East, the Asians, the Chinese, the Japanese, or Native Indians used to look at the Big Dipper and say, look at the star in the handle of the Big Dipper, Mizar. And behind it is a little tiny star far away, Elcor. So they called that the Mother Indian carrying the small baby along as they were traveling through the world.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many different tales by many different nationalities trying to explain the stars and making up stories about them.
I am always fascinated in the Old Testament and the Bible, how much they were looking at the stars and, well, the birth of Jesus, the three wise men, which is a misnomer, but okay, saw it and knew it meant something special. So you had to know that they were looking up to the stars. I can just see, King David laying on the ground in Jerusalem looking up at the stars overnight.
That bright, shining light up there must mean something. It
Exactly.
must mean something great has happened. Something was probably born that was real important, and we should go investigate.
Exactly. My last question for you. I know I've been told, but evidently I've got a leak in my brain. How do you tell where the North Star is?
You find the Big Dipper and the two outer stars, Merak and Doobie, on the other corner of the pot. Follow that, and that will lead you right to Polaris, the North Star.
Okay, so if the Big Dipper goes the little pot and then the handle, you're going off the pot?
From the big pot.
Right, the big pot.
The outer side of the big pot.
Okay.
follow those two stars, and they will take you right to the Polaris, the North Star.
I will give it a shot.
Anything to get this lady outside.
Like I say, I wish I was a night person. I wish I could stay up at night because I would just love to look at what's going on around us. Every night we close our eyes and the sky is putting on this amazing
and we
show.
We're thinking we're just standing still on Spooner, but also that you're right now on the surface of the Earth, you're traveling about 500 miles per hour because the Earth is revolving.
And it's mind-boggling.
Well, I think it's wonderful to think about.
Oh, I do too. It's a whole different world.
We have so much to learn, and
such a short time to learn it. This is another question that I thought was interesting, and these are for little kids that had taken your class. Mars, the red planet, is rising in the east. It is very cold and has no oxygen, no place to buy a hot dog. So pack a lunch if you get selected to be on the spaceship mission there. Remember, it is not up in the sky before sunrise. And then information about Venus and thunder sounds. Do you ever have anybody that comes back to you and goes, you know what, you made it so amazing with your imagination and how you turned all of this into spaceship rides and hot dogs?
I think she's going to try and give me a raise in salaries or something. No, it's just science is fun and interesting, finding out about the world around you.
But have you had people come back and say, I went into astronomy because of you, or I got to love science because of you?
I've had a lot of kids appreciate the general ideas, and they remember some simple ideas, let's say about the silver polish. They say, what was that old recipe? I have other kids that have gone on into science, and one or two, Schindeldecker boy got his doctor's degree. Other people have got their nurse's degree. So over the years, I feel I have helped the average person understand where we are and what goes on, as well as the more technical parts. I try to worry about everybody.
And you've got the unique ability to honor everybody, whether they're little kids, trusting little kids, to high school kids, to adults.
They're all important. We're all important working here together.
Yeah, in our neighborhood.
In our neighborhood.
That's just amazing. Just to hold your feet to the fire, I would be thrilled if you would consider writing a little something for DrydenWire.
Oh.
Even once a month?
Right here, all you have to do, folks.
You're passing on this, aren't you?
Get the sky calendar.
Let me see that, will you?
Get the sky calendar from the University of Michigan. It tells you where all the planets are. It tells you which ones are lined up with each other. It gives you a beautiful chart of the sky, and you could, for $12, get you a subscription for the whole year. Once a month, you get the whole sky that you can look at. You can share with your kids. You can make a copy on the copying machine, and your kids can share with the neighbor kids.
And who tells you how to read this?
Oh, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
No, it isn't.
Okay.
There's a lot of fine print, but you take one day at a time. And you find one constellation, find it up in the sky, and then that guides you where the other ones.
So when you use this, do you use this like this or do you use this like this?
Well, it depends on how flexible your head is.
Whatever works comfortably for you.
Yeah, and they suggest use a red flashlight, and that shows up a little better. But it's just, you'll get out there and you say, hey, I see the Big Dipper. Hey, I see the Big Lion. I see Orion. Okay. And that one constellation will guide you to the other one. And it's just fun to be outside, unless it's 20 below maybe.
Yeah.
And you have a warm coat on.
Yeah.
And or it's raining, that would shut that off.
Or the mosquitoes are driving you crazy.
Mosquitoes are bad early in the evening.
Yes.
And Lynch, I think he has an article in St.
Mike
Paul
Lynch,
Pioneer
yes.
Press. Beautiful source of information, or get on the computer and look up astronomy, look up the constellation. They tell you all about it. They tell you all about the planets. And you are just a little bit more familiar with the world around us.
Well, good old Google. 1 year I gardened by the moon. It was a lot of work. It was a lot more work, but everything turned out absolutely amazing. I weed now by the moon. That when the moon is going into its dark phase and just coming out, the weeds pull like you're pulling them out of butter. If you try to weed during the full moon, it's like pulling them out of cement. It's just amazing.
I'll tell the wife that. She is the danger of the weeds in our garden.
Good for her. See it, try it, and see if it works. Dark of the moon, they pull real
I'll tell
easy.
her, honey, you get out there and check the moon and
don't give her my phone number, though.
Decide what you're going to do tomorrow.
So she gets to weed. What a guy. You should be doing that.
Well, I do the hoeing around the tomatoes
all right.
and the cucumbers and
Okay,
the peas.
you're
That's
excused.
my job, the hoer.
So, how do...
The address is right up here. They tell you a subscription for $12 a month, and it gives you the address of some planetarium over there in Abrams Planetarium, Science Road, East Lansing, Michigan.
Michigan.
And I'll leave this copy right here, and this nice lady will pass it on to you.
Yes.
Or if she gets mad and hangs up the phone, I could find it too.
So this one happens to come from a planetarium in Lansing, Michigan.
Yeah.
So you could Google it, and you could start a whole new career, especially if you're a night person, which I'm not. But, that's...
It's a nice hobby, folks. Share it with your kids, and share it ice fishing or just getting bored and TV is no good. Get outside and find your constellation.
I agree.
Or, pardon me, find your... Not the constellation.
Don't look at me. This was never my strong point. I am amazed also at the Bible when it says that God has named every star. And I thought, well, why are we naming them? They're already named. Either way, I cannot tell you how happy I am that you are here today. I wished I could have been your student.
I am very humble and pleased that you asked me. I love to share the science.
Oh, yeah.
And if you would have been my students, I would have said don't break too many beakers because they cost money, okay?
I'd have to prepay for my beakers. Are you appearing anywhere? Are you doing any classes? If Spooner School called you and said, could you possibly do a night class, an adult learning class? Would you consider that? I would be there.
I would think you could pretty much take care of your interests just with this.
Yes, but these people don't talk about starships and hot
Well,
dogs.
you have to use a little imagination.
And that's what you bring to the table is your amazing imagination. You take this chart and make it live. I can look at it and go, yep, there it is.
She's pretty nice, folks.
Well, is it my last
Her
question?
cup of coffee is good, but I...
My last question. Are the constellations moving apart?
The galaxies are moving apart. Our Milky Way galaxy is moving apart from the other galaxies and speeding. Most of them are speeding up and moving away. And they figure if you're around long enough, you won't see the other galaxies. Our Milky Way galaxy will bump into the Andromeda galaxy in about 4 billion years, and they'll become entangled, and they'll probably become one larger galaxy. Your galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, has picked up some smaller ones over the years. And they can tell this by Hubble's telescope and
Sure.
light radiations and all those things.
So do you ever watch Star Wars? Do they get anything right? Or is it just fun?
What was it, that first one? I took my daughter to the first Star Wars movie probably about 40-some years ago when the first Star War, not the Star Wars, the space. What was the name of the first picture?
Not a clue, because I'm not a fan. I just wondered if they were accurate in any way. Sometimes they are because they're built on facts. Sometimes they're just so far off reality and making up their own stories because it is fantasy.
They vary. They vary.
So if you go to Star Wars and expect to understand the universe, you might want to call a planetarian and get a map and
you need a fast ship, right?
yeah, right. For our neighborhood. Bob, it's been absolutely a treat. Thank you for coming. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you coming and just opening up a door, just a tiny little slit, and really consider maybe either doing something for DrydenWire on a monthly basis or maybe doing something through the school system when the classes resume as, for adults.
In the fall, when the galaxy is in view, I'd love to call your attention to that because I finally saw it last year and I was overwhelmed. You could just the big cloud area from the lower southwest corner all the way over your head up to above your left shoulder, and you could see the Milky Way galaxy. That was precious to me.
Okay, one more question. In August, it seems to be, to me, a total novice, a lot of sky activity. Is it true or?
What do you mean, pardon me, by activity?
One night when my husband was working nights, he came home, woke me up when he got home, and he says, "You've got to see this." We went outside, and the whole sky was red. It was like we were in a red dome. And someone had said, well, August is when you see a lot of, I don't know if it's northern lights or unusual sky activity. Nobody ever explained what it was, and I guess the sheriff's departments, police departments got a lot of call. What's going on? And I don't think anybody ever knew.
Well, years ago, they were worried about the aliens.
Well, I think they still are. What is it, where's it, New Mexico?
Yeah,
they're still
talking about that.
Oh, yeah, they're making a fortune out there from people who think they're seeing aliens. Oh, well, we've got to go. I told you it was going to be hard to.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, folks. And you go, folks, get out there wherever the camera is and get acquainted with your neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly.
And thank you for the coffee.
You're more than welcome. So until next week, thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. Order a star chart. Maybe, start doing something a little different. And until we see you next week, keep it cooking.